Well, good morning, and welcome to a fireside chat in a unique situation. Today we are hosting, the university is hosting, the West Virginia Baptist Convention. And while the site of this fireside chat is the President's office, as most of the fireside chats have been, I have a guest today, and that's Dr. Michael Sisson, who is the Executive Minister for the West Virginia Baptist Convention. And we're going to talk today about our church relatedness at Alderson Broaddus University and the unique and blessed opportunity we have to consider them close partners and in many respects sponsoring organization of the institution. At Alderson Broaddus, in our mission statement, we talk about quality education. We talk about allowing students the opportunity to choose in their chosen disciplines what they want to do in life. And we strive to produce contributing citizens, a wise and contributing citizenry to the future of this world. In our church relatedness statement, we talk boldly and assuredly about our relationship with the American Baptist Churches USA and our long and rich history and legacy with the West Virginia Baptist Convention. So this weekend, Alderson Broaddus University is hosting over 200 members of the West Virginia Baptist Convention for their annual meeting. And we are truly, truly honored to have them with us. As I mentioned, Dr. Sisson is with us, and I wondered if you could comment a little bit about our relationship, and perhaps we can eventually get into a discussion a little bit about the future.
Well, appreciate the opportunity to be here, and certainly thank not only yourself, Dr. Berry, but also the university for hosting us and sponsoring us. It's been a wonderful annual meeting and just a beautiful, beautiful setting, and so we're so thankful. And as we've shared before, we have such a rich heritage together. Alderson Broaddus has been an American Baptist affiliated institution, I guess, since its inception. And so by that very nature, it's tied us to the West Virginia Baptist Convention, which is a region of the American Baptist Churches USA. And by virtue of that, we are actually the largest region of the American Baptist Churches USA. And so it's been a very rich history. And as you've already heard from some of the folks who have taken the platform and many of the comments and testimonies, many of them mentioned their background. Some were graduates of Alderson Broaddus in the past or had families that were graduates. A lot of our folk, both on staff and those from delegates from churches, have enjoyed taking pictures. One of our area ministers, Reverend Dr. Martin McCloy, actually met his wife here at Alderson Broaddus I think it was 31 years ago. And so for them to take a selfie out in front of that was really an amazing time for them. And so we have a rich history. Of course, your namesake was a prominent Baptist in himself. And so the relationship with us has always been varied. You mentioned in your address yesterday the Ward Hibbs Award. And Ward Hibbs was one of the ones to actually identify the need for educating pastors that could not go away for formal education. They were bivocational. And so he was kind of the one who, partnering with Alderson Broaddus, was able to put that into place and make that a reality, which met a need that, quite frankly, until that time had gone unmet. And so we have a rich history together.
Well, I think the combination of country and city or country and small town, bringing those things together, particularly in West Virginia, is so important to us. As a matter of fact, one thing I wanted to say yesterday and forgot about it was that this was one of the largest alumni gatherings that Alderson Broaddus will sponsor all year. And I wanted to mention and ask how many people had graduated from AB or had sons and daughters or siblings that attended AB. And out of the 250 people in attendance, I bet well over half had been touched directly by this institution. Later on today, I'm going to give a talk about our history, and they've given me a grand total of 30 minutes to do so. And I'm thinking, I'm not sure how I'm going to cover 150 years. It started out as an hour. Now it's 50 or 30 minutes. So anyway, that's going to be a minor blessing to pull that off. But in that conversation, I want to switch it from not only the past, but looking at the future. And we're in a state that certainly has some challenges. We're in a country with challenges. You have an organization that wants to contribute to the good, and so do we. And I think one of the challenges for the future for both of us as leaders of our organizations is to find that common ground, to build upon the past and our history, and then creatively strategize about your Vision 2020 program and bring it into compliance, not in compliance, but bring it into relationship with our strategic decision model. No one has enough money, no one has enough people, so if we can leverage our two organizations together, I think only West Virginia can benefit. Any thoughts on that?
Well, first of all, again, I want to say thank you. Alderson Broaddus has allowed us to partner with you in using your Moodle medium for education, online education. And that, again, actually is still continuing Ward Hibbs' vision, because it is predominantly educating lay people. And as bivocational ministry has become more prevalent, the generation coming up now, we have a lot of millennials, and you've seen several of those, and we're so blessed because they're such a misunderstood generation. But many of them now, what formal ministry will look like to them will be bivocational. Bivocational ministry, this idea of the full-time pastor and that's all they do, is going to be a very limited number of individuals that will be doing that.
That's right.
And so part of being bivocational and having a full-time job, and there's no such thing as a part-time church, by the way, it's only part-time pay. There's going to be needs, and they're not going to come at good times. But part of that is the need to be able to provide education in an online format. And I'm sure Alderson Broaddus has already begun to pursue that, have some partnership, and we've had conversations with Palmer Theological Seminary, which we're fortunate enough to have a master's and a doctorate degree program with them through our partnership. And so that kind of gives us an idea of just how beautiful a partnership can be.
That's right.
For us with Palmer, for example, all we really do is provide them a space. But providing them a space with all the needs that they need to have classes there and rooms where students can stay while they're on campus, what we actually do is reduce the tuition.
That's right.
And by reducing the tuition with the very strong grant programs and financial assistance programs that we have through the West Virginia Baptist Convention, such as the West Virginia Baptist Convention Education Society, which helps with all schooling up to your master's degree, and in Bowen, which also comes alongside even for doctoral work. Students in West Virginia are able to get education at a very affordable rate. And today, that's huge.
That's huge.
To be able to get education and actually pay for it, especially if ministry is going to be part of your purview, which you really don't have the benefit of saying, I'm going to make plenty of money from what I'm going to do as a career. So one of the things that you're doing already is partnering with us by simply allowing us to use that Moodle platform, and then getting this education for all those who can't go to the seminary level.
Right.
The education, preparation they need to do ministry. Now, interestingly, another thing that has kind of come to the forefront, and I learn as I go. I don't know if you do that. But,
I do.
But when you listen to your staff, you learn a lot because they're kind of the boots on the ground, right? And so what we begin to see in this transition, especially with millennials and those to follow them in the college sector, is that because they're bivocational, they are now trying to understand how can whatever career I pick, whether it be a career in nursing, whether it be a career in law, whether it be a career in business and finance, how can I have that as a ministry platform? And I think that's an intersect place that we can look toward strengthening our partnership. Because just as you said, preparing, students for whatever career, well, we're also doing the same thing. Because those who have faith, in this day and age, understand faith as being carried into the marketplace with them. Recently was a mentor for a gentleman in his doctoral program. And what he was doing was working with business owners. He actually is a vice president for a physical therapy company, a very large company. And they want to be a faith-based company. They want to have that, not that everyone has to be Christian, but they want to have those foundational values. And so what he did with his doctoral program was he actually come alongside a select group of those who own physical therapies or who were doctors to work with them on understanding how does their faith influence what they do for a living, and how can there be a bringing together of faith and workplace and not a separation of it.
Good point.
And so certainly, as I said here, just thinking from the top, that has got to be a place that we're intersecting in our joint understanding and joint focus.
Gotcha.
Wouldn't you agree?
I would. I frankly have three thoughts. Number one, the Ward Hibbs analogy of someone with a great vision then that still lives and breathes today, I think is just marvelous.
Yes.
Secondly, millennials get condemned for a lot of things, but they're changing the conversation. They're moving the paradigm. Climate change would be one example of that. But they have a very philanthropic worldview about taking things and making it better. And so naturally, there would be a spin of what I want to do in my career certainly is to earn money, but also it better have a philosophical basis for all of this. And I think the third thing would be, what are the tenets of our engagement in the future? And I think that's fertile ground for conversations between our organizations. In other words, what is the anatomy of the conversation going to be? What can't we solve? What can we solve? And how can we work together? So this is a fruitful dialogue, and I thank you for your friendship and your wise counsel on a number of issues as we move forward. Not separately, but together, doing the Lord's work, and that's the important thing. So again, we're going to conclude today by thanking Dr. Sisson for this conversation, this fireside chat. And as I always conclude, if you have any questions for, frankly, either one of us, direct them to me here at AB, and I will consult with Dr. Sisson. May God bless our good work. May God bless the West Virginia Baptist Convention. And of course, may God bless each and every one of you at Alderson Broaddus University. Thank you for your time.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.